knowing that you all have your schedules and tasks that are waiting also after that. So good morning, everybody. Good to see familiar faces or names here in the list of participants. My name is Marko Ruokangas. I represent the Managing Authority for Karelia program. And act as a facilitator today in this workshop, which is focusing on sustainability and capitalization. So we look what is happening after the project has been finalized, at what happens with the outputs that you have produced, and how you're going to work with the results. Today, we have a visiting guest who is telling us about practical experiences. Anna Kiiski from Kotka Maritime Research Center. And after that, we dive a bit deeper to what sustainability and capitalization mean, and how you could approach that. And during these presentations and introductions, you can send your questions through chat, and we touch those questions after each section of this workshop. So this workshop is the third workshop of this spring. And the last for this spring, and then we continue with the capacity building after the summer with new issues to targeted audiences. But with these words, I want to wish you a fruitful workshop, which is going to take about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and take a use of all the information that you will receive today. And be active with your questions, and still to repeat that, so you can write the questions there in chat, and we'll come back into those questions after each section. But with these words, I open this workshop, and immediately we dive deep into practicalities, and I give the floor to Anna Kiiski from Kotka Maritime Research Center. Anna, please, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, floor is yours, please.
Thank you.
Anna.
It is nice to be here, or well, it should be even nice to be there with you. But anyhow, thanks for inviting me here to speak to you. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Yes, thank you. Now you should see my presentation. Is it okay?
Yes, we can see that.
Yes, good. So windy welcomes from Kotka. It's quite windy. The storm passed over here during the night, but still windy. But we are looking forward to have a sunny days for the last part of the week. So it will be nice. But before that, a few words about our way to work in Kotka Maritime Research Center, and how we build up projects, and how we try to fix or keep up the sustainability of the results, and so on. And as it was said, I would like to have as much questions as you would like to present, and if needed, just interrupt me and ask your questions immediately. Okay. First, a bit background about Kotka Maritime Research Center, because it's important to understand which kind of organization we are. My role in Merikotka is to act as a executive director. I'm kind of a glue between the partnership between the operators inside the organization. Kotka Maritime Research Center is a kind of a research network. We do interdisciplinary research, applied research, and our focus is to improve maritime safety, prevent accidents, and protect the environment. And as I said that we are a network, it means that our expertise is built on research organizations. And at the moment, we have 4 universities: Helsinki University, Aalto University, Turku University, and Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences. And research groups belonging to our network are actually employees of these 4 organizations. But together, our focus is to do or implement the aims which I presented. Focus on safety and protect the environment. And actually, this is one very important reason behind the way we work, as we in practice are from different organizations. In practice we have very different kind of backgrounds. Our network includes biologists, engineers, geographic experts, people with very good financial or the business background, and this kind of variety of expertise brings us very good possibilities to produce projects. These 7 persons are leading the research done in Merikotka, in Kotka Maritime Research Center. As you can see, it includes 4 professors. Sakari Kuikka, he is a professor in Helsinki, the University of Helsinki, focusing on environmental topics with his group. Pentti Kujala is from Aalto University, and his group is consisting on engineers and focusing on maritime safety topics. Osiris is our newest professor, also from Aalto University, done the full PhD throughout the Merikotka research project, and now starting his career as a professor. And Osiris is focusing on maritime technology, automatization, and e-navigation, for example. Tommi Inkinen is from University of Turku and focusing with his group about the logistics systems. And then we have 2 research managers from SAMK, from Southeastern Finland Applied University, Olli-Pekka and Joel. And Joel is more focused on maritime risk management, and Olli-Pekka about logistics and port operators. And last but not least is Annukka Lehikoinen, who is just started a few months ago in Merikotka. Annukka's role is to lead the research cooperation and to focus on interdisciplinary research. So Annukka is the key person to fix and to unite all the knowledge of these 6 gentlemen, 6 experts to kind of produce the main applications, main ideas, which we jointly will put forward. So this is from our side, the main structure, the main motor of producing applications. But this is only part of the story. In here, this is a not updated slide, but that's not the main message. It is a kind of a timeline from somewhere 15 years ago till today. It shows you that we have 3 different topics which our organization is focused in our research, all of our research. The first one with the orange tags, it's maritime and port operations. The blue ones are projects focusing on safety or Arctic technology, and the green one is focused on environmental topics. And in the bottom, the yellow are more or less interdisciplinary research. Of course, in all of our projects, there is a different kind of interdisciplinary actions, but some are a bit more than the other. But in here, you can see that projects will start, they will be implemented, and then they will be ended. And the next one will start, they will be implemented, and they will end it. Some projects are more independent, and some are forming a change and will go further under another project when ended. Few examples. TopCons was a project between Russia and Finland during the NP program period. And based on TopCons results, we are at the moment a partner in the Get Ready project, which has similar topics. IRIS was a project focusing on alien species, and COMPLETE is now ongoing project, which is deeply focusing about the alien species throughout the Baltic Sea region. RESCOP, STORMWIND, and SIMREC are also 3 projects which are dealing with different kind of topics related to oil combating or stimulatory use of in that topic. Sorry, RESCOP, Clean Oil, and SIMREC. And then also eco-friendly port, sustainable port, and also MEROS was part of the chain of port operations and sustainable development. So based on the research themes of our organization, we can produce different kind of projects from different angles with different cooperating partners, but they quite usually are based on previous results on previous projects. It was asked by your organization to me that how do we do this? And I first think that quite a tough question. I don't know how do we do it. It's quite unnatural for us to do it like this, as we are built an organization, different kind of expertise, and we have jointly produced 3 main themes which we are interested in. So it's the result of our work that very often the project will be built upon the previous one. But then I discussed with my team and the researchers, and we actually produced a top 5 suggestions for you to consider. But before that, another important part of our work. There's a logos or a list of stakeholders or parties which present a very important cooperators for us. That's not all, but well, maybe ones which are active at the moment. You can see that there is different kind of organizations, for example, HELCOM, Helsinki Commission, Finnish Environmental Institute, Port of Turku, WWF, Port of Hamina, Kotka, Arctic, City of Kotka, of course, and the universities from around the Baltic Sea. So different kind of international organizations, Finnish organizations. There's a lot of Russian organizations which are now not included here, but especially in St. Petersburg, we have a lot of university cooperation with the Russian Academy of Science, Admiral Makarov University, and different kind of business related partners. But without these stakeholders, these parties, I think we were not able to produce research projects as such. And based on these observations, as said, we produce a list of top 5 suggestions for you. And let's go through here. As said, we think that, and I'm sure that you also know that in order to produce a good project application, it should be based on true problem, on true observation of something which is not good. Of course, though, I do know I have done project applications many years, and not of them are not based on true problems, I need to be honest. But in order to produce good qualified research or project application, it should be based on true problem. And in order to do that, you must discuss with your stakeholder, you must listen to your stakeholder, you must share the information, share the views, which might not be always from the same point of view. You may disagree, or you may have a similar kind of understanding, but anyhow, sharing the information is extremely important. And while discussing and listening, you must engage the stakeholders and to formulate the problem which you are going to, or which you try to solve by implementing your project. Then we discussed that, okay, after we have get the idea that this is something which should be fixed, we need to find the perfect consortium, the perfect partners to do the job. Sometimes it's very easy to find the partners which you have already cooperated, yes, but quite often you need to consider the problem and understand the different point of views, and based on that, find the expertise which you will need to do the best possible solution. And what we have found very important to find out that there's no room for freeloaders. All the partners which are involved should have something to give in order to fix the problems which we have defined. So this is the first 2 steps which we consider to be important in order to build up a sustainable project. Then when I start to write, it is quite often that you will be so thrilled about the idea that this is excellent and yes, we can save the world and so on. But then you have to go down and try to be realistic and consider the schedule that, okay, we have 3 years, what we can really do. And all the aims which will be written inside the application it should be very carefully considered that you must solve the problem. So all the aims should be targeted to that. It is sometimes very hard to see that, okay, this is something which I would really much like to do, but it must be taken off because it's not good for the project. It doesn't solve the problem, it doesn't have anything to do regarding the solving of the problem. That's as a project leader, this is always the hardest part to kind of cut off all these unnecessary parts of the project and keep the focus on the problem and all the aims to the problems. And same is also related to the point 4 about the activities. All the activities which you plan in the project should support the aims. And those activities must be clear, very focused, and quite often less is more, which I mean that the most important activities which you need to solve the problem should be involved, probably nothing else. But as I assume as you all already are running a project in the CPC program, you have done this so far. You have succeeded to build up a good project application, and you have received funding, and you are now implementing your project. But what next? What is the important top 5 from our point of sight, which we consider to increase the sustainability in the future? Now the new programs, CPC programs, are soon starting. So this is the excellent time to consider the future and consider the project which you are now running and which kind of actions you have, what should we do in order to increase the sustainability. And again, we discussed within our team, and I think this is so. We consider that could it be? It's so obvious and it's so simple. Well, communicate. While implementing communication, as said by also the funding organizations, always communicate. It is important. While communicating your results to the stakeholders, it is also very important to communicate, listen, and engage, share, in order to have new ideas. Quite often, while implementing the project, you have probably find out that there's some new problems rise. You realize that, okay, now we have solved this, but also that should be solved in order to reach our target. So we consider that this Merikotka top 5 is quite of kind of a circle. After reaching to number 5, while communicating, you receive new ideas, and then you formulate a true problem. You discuss, listen, share, and engage your stakeholders, and then you start to build up a consortium. And this goes on and goes on and goes on in after every project. But quite simple and obvious, but this was the best ideas which we managed to produce, or the best answer which we managed to produce for your question. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anna, for a very interesting presentation and for sharing your experiences and I'm looking at chat, and at the moment we do not have any questions there in chat. But maybe I will open the floor for questions, and I make one question. It's really interesting to hear how you listed these top 5 things to take into consideration, and you start from a problem which we have also underlined very much. And so my question is that when you say that the results produced in a project in a way create a basis for establishing a new project, so are these something that or making a link to these problems? So are they these new initiatives that come as an outcome of the implemented project something which are related to problems that you had already identified, and then in the problem analysis decided not to go for it but focused in another thing? Or is it something that comes completely as a new issue, new problem which is arised by this implemented project? So what is your feeling, or is it both?
So I would say both, because as I said that quite often, well, firstly, started to formulate kind of a new topic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ideas, and I said that in order to produce a successful application, you must cut off some parts, and that is of course a material for some other project application, perhaps, but maybe not. It's of course one which is very crucial is to look at the text in the project in the program document. Does it fit this thing which we consider to be important to solve? Does it fit into this program? And if not, then we might consider some other perspective, or to find some other source of funding. But that is answer to your question is both. But it is quite often, as we discuss about the research done in universities, it is quite often the situation that while doing the research, there some new topics or some new problems will be prized and considered that this is something which should be clarified somewhere else. Or during some discussion with the stakeholders, it is quite often raised some kind of a topics or some problems which they consider to be important to fix.
Okay, Henna, do you have any particular questions?
I do have comments first of all, and maybe some questions as well. First of all, I would like to tell everybody the reason why we have Kotka Maritime Research Center here today. So when we were planning this workshop, I contacted my colleague Sari Loisa from the Southeast Finland Research Program and asked if they have any examples on organizations that have succeeded in sustainable projects, in building up sustainable projects. And without hesitation, Sari mentioned Kotka Maritime Research Center. So she really thought that you have succeeded in this. So that's why we have Anna here today, and I would like to thank you for the presentation. I think important point here was, at least for me, that it seems that sustainability, from your point of view, there are no magic tricks. It's just a result of good project planning and good implementation and good project communication, and that in a way results to sustainable projects. So I think that is an important message for our projects as well, that you do not do anything like wonders or something extraordinary. You just need to, in a way, do the good job and implement the project in a good way. So I think that is the main message here. It was interesting to see the slide of your projects in a long term. So that's where I wondered if you have a long-term plan on projects. Do you have the idea that now we need this kind of project, and then on the next programming period we might need this project, or does it go like Marco already asked, that when you have implemented one, then you might need another? So do you have a long-term plan for like 5 years?
Yes, we call it a research agenda, which is it is not it is written to focus our research aims for the Merikotka cooperation, for the Merikotka network. It is, but I consider it is not kind of a roadmap to build up a project, but it is the focus of our research in the future. It is done by research groups and our stakeholders jointly. We are actually now starting to update it, but it kind of clarifies the main topics which we consider important based on our expertise. And well, of course, in order to implement the research, we need a project, but we use it, this research agenda to, for example, now when this quite many EU programs are drafted and there's a possibility to join the work. So we use the agenda to kind of have the discussion with the program preparation phase and to kind of keep up the important topics which we have notified. So that is very much used on that purposes too. But of course, well, the project will be kind of pieces of the puzzle of that research agenda. But our projects are funded by many different kind of programs. This CBC is only one of the programs. Quite many are from the indirect programs, national or international, but also this academic funding is used very much. But it was, Henna-Mari, very nicely summed that no magic trick, just the basic work. We were actually discussing about this, that what to answer. We don't do anything special. We just try to keep it simple and focused and discuss.
Okay. We still have one question. We take that and then we go forward and give Anna a possibility to go forward. I understood that you have all tight schedules, yeah. But here in the chat we have one question. Can it be that at the end of the project you disseminate the solution of project's problem to your stakeholders and sell them the new problem for a new project agenda and funding application round? So this is directed, I guess, to Anna, this question, or is it just a consideration? Anna, would you like to answer this?
Yes, the word sell, it was a bit, I would prefer to, as written in the top 5, discuss, share and engage a bit more, because if you, I think that we consider us to be expert of academic point of view about maritime topics, but we do need the stakeholders in order to find the real problems. If we try to sell something which we consider to be important, it might be not the true problem from the stakeholders' point of view. I do understand the question, and it is not easy, such easy as it's much more easier to say here, but we would like to very much underline the word discussion and listen about the stakeholders. That's the most or the best way to go further, and in order to produce the projects which have a real effect to the environment or the maritime topics or whatever.
Okay, Alexander here in chat in fact reflects exactly the same issue as Joanna said, that the sustainability on both sides of the border, and that's of course in CBC world it's an interesting question. Henna, do we still have time to take one question? We have Raisa Nikula's question here.
You should take Raisa's question. I think that is a good question.
Okay, let's still take one if you still, Anna, have some time to take this question. So Raisa is asking that what advice do you have on keeping less tangible project results, such as improved collaboration, information exchange, and networks alive after the project period when funding for collaboration has ended? So this is going in fact into your top 5 list, I guess.
Yes, and that is a very important question, especially when they are discussing the cooperation between Russia and Finland. As we probably see now, there will be a kind of a gap between the programs, or at least in those projects which we are running between Russians will be ended well within 6 months, and new programs will be started a bit later. So that is an important question, how to keep up the network and cooperation. That is something which, as we are a network, actually Merkotka is an NGO, and we have a good group of members behind. And by using those, we have been able to keep up cooperation between programs or between the projects by different kinds of events or meetings or whatever. But it is something which should be focused, or which should be kept up. We have, for example, Russian cooperators, which we have done projects. The first one has been after, well, what was the program before any? Was it Tempus or something, or some other? I don't know now remember, but we have done many years cooperation between the same organizations, for example, from Russia. And those times when we have not had joint projects, we have kept up communication and cooperation by some other ways.
Okay. Yep.
Very much.
Okay. Thank you, Anna, and thank you very much for sharing your interesting experience. It's really valuable for all of us to hear your practices, and I hope all the best for your next projects, and I hope that our project stakeholders are able to utilize your experiences and your examples when they are planning new ones. So thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you very much. It was nice to be here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I give the floor to Henna, and we could go to sustainability and capitalization a bit deeper. What it includes and what it means and what you can do. So Henna, please.
Thank you. So now that we have heard a practical example, we return to the technicalities, and I will try to define what do we actually mean by sustainability and capitalization. So in practice, a project is sustainable when its results can be used also after completion of the project. This is the main point. And now I think it's also important to differ the concept of the environmental sustainability, which is also important. But when we talk about sustainability here, we do not mean only environmental sustainability, but really how the project results live, how do they stay after the project has ended. So in practice, this means that what you have created in the project, whether it be an action like you have built supporting services for entrepreneurs, or if it's a maintenance of an infrastructure, you have built a center or a toilet to a national park, somehow those should be kept alive, continued after the project has ended. Because obviously you understand that, for example, if we have the toilet in the national park, it needs to be maintained, it needs to be cleaned, something needs to be done to it after the project has ended in order it should still be useful. Nobody wants to go there after a year if it has never been cleaned. So you need to think how the outputs can be kept alive after the project has ended. And this also includes continued participation and involvement of the target groups and beneficiaries. They need to know that the outputs are still available, that they can use them, that they can find them. So somehow they still need to be involved. Still going further in the practicalities. So in order to reach project sustainability, you need basically money and stuff. So in fancier terms, you need financial sustainability and organizational sustainability. Obviously, if you want to keep, for example, the supporting services alive, it usually requires money, and that needs to be thought well in advance. Where do you get the money for the sustainability? And within the organization, there still needs to be will to keep up the outputs. There needs to be people who are taking care of the actions and operations. So you just can't let the outputs flow to the world and hope for the best, but you need to have the resources for the sustainability. If we take a look on the grant contract that all the projects have signed, you are required, if you have an infrastructure component, you cannot subject it to a substantial change within 5 years of the project closure. So in practice, if you have created a training center for the entrepreneurs, it cannot be changed into a hotel, for example, within 5 years of project closure. If there is a substantial change, then the funding can be recovered. So this is the contractual requirement. But then again, there is no, in a way, contractual obligation regarding the sustainability. So we cannot recover the funding if, for example, you are not offering the services for the entrepreneurs that you produced as an output of the project. But nevertheless, the sustainability is still, it should be your main goal, because in practice, what's the point with the project if you just give up on the day the project ends? So at that point, you should really have the things you have created, and you should proudly go out to the world with the results. So even there is no obligation, it really should be your main goal, the sustainability. So basically, I've quite often, when I've talked about dissemination, I have said that you should be proudly presenting your results and outputs, and it's again here the same message. You really should be. You shouldn't be happy if your outputs are placed in a drawer when the project ends, but you should aim for the growth of your project. So basically, I would like to ask you to be ambitious. So be proud of your results. And if you are proud, I guess you want to keep them alive and go further with your results. So if sustainability is keeping the outputs alive, then capitalization is taking a step further. So according to Interact, and Interact is the supporting service for the Interreg and CPC programs. So according to Interact, capitalization is gathering, organizing, and building upon existing program and project results within specific fields. So simply said, capitalization is using the results. Sustainability is keeping them alive, and capitalization is reusing the results. So in practice, project outputs and results are capital that should be taken advantage of. If we think of a map, how it could go, so you have implemented a project and you have created some outputs and results, and then you should really continue using the results. You have, for example, I'm using the same example again, you have the supporting service for the entrepreneurs. If you continue to offer that service, then it's sustainability. And then if you start thinking if it could be improved, you build upon that service that you created already and start in a way creating new kind of services for the entrepreneurs upon the existing experiencing. Then you would be reusing the results, and as a result, you should have improved results. And this process would be capitalization. The objectives of the capitalization is, first of all, identifying the results and then building on existing knowledge and experience. So here the important point is that you should really know what you have achieved previously. And then you are not only, you shouldn't think that you are keeping the results to yourself, but you should make the knowledge and the results more accessible for others, because probably in most of the cases, if you are doing something important, somebody else is also interested in your results, and they might have some ideas, and they might have the ability to reuse your results. So you should pay attention to making your results accessible. People should be able to find them, and that way we can improve the transfer and improve the capitalization. And then reuse can be in support to future policies, projects, and programs. So still repeating myself, even if you are not reusing the results by yourself, somebody else might be able to do that. And here an important point is to raise awareness and improve communication for the relevant stakeholders. So also you can try to identify the stakeholders that could use your results. So in a way, capitalization, it links to communication and also monitoring and evaluation. There are really plenty of similarities to dissemination here. And then to the practicalities. And here I would like to point out that the European Commission is paying more and more attention to the capitalization. And I'm pretty confident that this will be a really topical theme in the next programming period. So we will probably have some kind of capitalization plan within the program, and we will pay attention to it also on the project level from the very beginning of the programming period. And then if we think of Interact, again, they have a capitalization plan already at the moment for the Interact programs. And in practice, this means that there are different kind of thematic networks, and then there is a keep system that I will show you shortly. And the idea of Interact is to try to identify the results that can be transferred and reused. So they are trying to build networks within the programs and projects quite widely. So this is the keep.eu project portal, and it includes most of the Interreg, IPA, and ENICPC projects from the whole Europe. So if you are interested in some theme and would like to know what has already been done in that field, then I would really suggest you to take a look on Keep and find if something has already been done in some other part of Europe. And you might find useful results, maybe useful stakeholders, maybe partners even. At the moment, we are a bit late. It's in a way similar situation to last previous programming period when we started talking about communication only when the projects were ending. Now we have talked about communication from the very beginning. So this time we remember the capitalization only at the end, but I think the game is still not lost. So what can you do at the moment and before you will close your project? First of all, I would like you to take a critical look on your results and to try to identify those results that could be transferred and reused in the future by the partner organizations that have been implementing the project or somebody else. And then, as I already mentioned, make sure that your results are easily available. Choosing the right channels according to the potential stakeholders. And in a way, if you are writing the results, then use plain language. Write it so that it can be understood easily. And also, what can you do? Make sure that the managing authority now knows what you have accomplished. So there is quite often we are asked by the Interact or by the European Commission if there are good examples of projects or of accomplishments. And then it is of course easier for us if we instantly know that, okay, there is this project who did that. And also if we know what you have done, we can disseminate your results in our networks of those. Making a list of those who could reuse your results is useful. So then you can basically also, instead of just waiting that somebody comes to your results, you could share your results to those. Tell that, okay, we have these things, you might be interested here. And then networking with other projects, with other organizations, projects from other programs, with whoever. So this was basically what I had to say at this point. Then I think it's time for discussion and asking questions from you if you have anything to capitalize, and if there is something that we could do for you in order to help you in sustainability and capitalization.
Okay, thank you, Henna. There is, in fact, one question in chat, and would you like to take that?
Yes, we can take a look of that. Do you mean that the capitalization gives access of the project results also to the commercial reuse of the results? Wide dissemination of the project results gives a possibility to this. In a way, I think we do not make a difference between commercial reuse and uncommercial reuse. After the project has been closed, basically also commercial reuse is possible. After that, we are not interested on the revenues of the that is related to the outputs.
Yes, and
I think
yeah, please, Henna.
I was just going to say that as wide dissemination of the results is really hopeful. Of course, if you have something that could be commercially utilized, then you probably hope to keep it to the project partners, which is also possible. The main point still is to keep the results sustainable, and if there is something that can be built up on the results, then it should be done.
And then thinking a bit wider, as our program is not a state aid program, and mainly what we do for example for SMEs is we build up preconditions for them in projects. So meaning that the preconditions that are established in projects may be utilized by SMEs in the future, and that may have an impact to their businesses. So in that sense, I guess it can be compared to commercial reuse in a way as well. Then there's a further question. I think PA partnership agreement is PA what you mean, and cannot forbid this or not CBC, or did I understand it right? So Henna, how do you understand this further question?
Yeah, I'm not sure either what the PA means. Yeah, but anyway, the program does not forbid commercial reuse, in a way, commercial reuse after the project has ended. I think here the main point is that we do take into account the revenues when the project is ongoing, but when the project is closed, then the revenues they are not applicable anymore.
Okay, at the moment we do not have any further questions in chat, and should we go forward and look at the questions that we have made for you to answer? So Henna, please.
Yes, so now you should see the questions on your screen. We would like to know about the situation at the moment regarding the sustainability. So if you could answer on these 4 projects, have you thought about sustainability of the project? How likely it is that your project will be sustainable? Have you already solved the financial sustainability? And have you already solved the organizational sustainability? Let's wait for a moment for the answers. there are answers coming. Let's wait for like 15 more seconds. Okay, I think I'll end the polling now and let's take a look on the results. So it seems that most have thought about sustainability, most even from the very beginning or occasionally. And also it seems likely that your projects will be sustainable, which is of course a good news. Most have a concept for financing already, but then there is also some uncertainty in that matter as well. And then the organizational sustainability is in better hands compared to the financial sustainability. Most of you are at least fairly sure that the relevant organization will continue the work. Would you like to comment on this, Marco?
Yeah, indeed. In fact, this looks quite good. So obviously you've been considering that, and of course looking at from the very beginning in the application form, we also ask you about the sustainability and how you have planned that. So in that sense, it is there from the very beginning, but probably not that well underlined there in the beginning, but it is really good to see that you have paid attention into that, and you have already secured the future also. But as said, so if you still have something to do, so then you still have time. But all in all, the answers look rather good, and the situation looks quite good, but also some concerns.
Then we could go to the next poll. So sustainability in practice. Now we would like to know if your project includes services that will be maintained after the project, if there are small-scale investments or investments that will be used after the project, and if there are any best practices that will be used after the project. Let's wait for a moment for you to answer. I think we might be ready here. So if you are still answering, send your answers now, because I'm ending the poll now. And let's take a look on the results. So 67% does have services that will be maintained. 58% of you have small-scale investments or investments, and nearly all have best practices that will be used after the project. So it seems to me that most of you have really thought about this, and you are already, in a way, on identifying those things that might be sustainable.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree completely with Henna. And maybe to add here, so for me, I'm really happy to see that you all have, almost all have best practices that can be used and as well shared, because that is something which can be utilized when building up new projects and going forward with the results. So this is particularly positive thing. Of course, also what comes to maintaining services and investment, but this is rather taking a step to capitalization already, how to utilize then the practices and best practices.
And then we have still one more poll, and then we have one word cloud coming, and then we are done in this respect. So then about capitalization. So this might be a bit more in a way difficult questions. Are there further needs in the field of your project? So thinking if there is something, some issues on, how would I say, if you can reuse the results in the future, if you already now know that, okay, there are more problems to come and we should continue the work. And if there are those needs, do you already have plans to proceed? Do you know that, okay, we should apply for a new project, or we will work without funding, or you do not know yet? But in a way, this is to think on, what do you think about the next steps of your results? And let's wait for a moment still. I think we are done. So sharing the results. It seems that your projects are not solving all the problems, but there is still work to be done, and new projects are needed.
Yes, indeed, and this looks like we can expect new projects for the new program, and well, in fact, this is something that goes to the same question that I made to Anna already. So it is really interesting to see then. Do we talk about next steps? The results that have been reached in the implemented projects, or do we or do you tackle other problems that were identified already when making the problem analysis for the implemented project? So it's really interesting to see how you develop new proposals but this is good message as well. So that there are plans to go forward, and of course this is very much depending on the type of projects. In some cases, it might be clear that okay, it is one go and that's it, and there's no going forward, and that is also understandable in some cases. Okay, but maybe Henna, do we go to Menti then and further?
Yes, we could go to Menti now. So I just share the link and the code in the chat. So if you could go there and answer the question, what are the biggest challenges in making the project sustainable and capitalizing their results? Let's see if I can share that.
Okay, at the moment we can see that there's money, which is of course a resource question is understandable. Updating, upgrading, policy issues. I think this is referring also to the question that Anna raised up in the beginning. So maintaining costs. Yes, that's obviously something. Partners, keeping up the partners and the partner network. Okay, you take up also mistrust, and I guess that there we talk about this partnerships and communication that Anna also referred to. Or updating, upgrading. Money seems to become the biggest issue here.
Which is not unexpected.
Yeah. In practical terms, it's understandable. You need resources to keep up going. Proper reporting. Interesting. Time is also taking up there. Yes. Kulik is asking instructions for how to write. I think they're in Menti. Was it?
Yes.
So putting it short, I think you just write there a word in the first row, and then you can add also another and then a third word, and then submit. So that should be the way how you add your words there into Menti.
Yeah, that's how it should work. Going to www.menti.com, and then there is the code 71777038, and then you can submit your thoughts.
Okay.
There is also ownership mentioned, which I think it's quite important thing to consider already from the very beginning of the project planning. So again, I really liked in Anna's presentation how she started from the proper true problem, because that's what Jarkko and I have been talking in the trainings when we talked about how you should plan the project and how you should really find the true problem. And I'm quite pleased to see how it goes along already to the way the sustainable project. And I think that's true problem links also the ownership. If the problem is by the stakeholders, then there is probably also ownership of the results.
Indeed. And Henna, shall we stop now here? And if would you like to somehow sum up what has been written here in Menti and take up main points from this word cloud?
And the main point seems to be the money, and then we have the, in a way, quite practical issues of those ownership and keeping participant acquisition policy issues, sufficient resources. So things related to, in a way, networking and contacting, how you keep your work with the stakeholders. Then now COVID-19 seems to be raising, and that is probably a topical question at the moment. How is that affecting the sustainability? And definitely it probably makes the networking and sharing the results, at least when we go to face-to-face, if we have needs to meet people face-to-face, this is a real challenge that we need to overcome this year, and hopefully next year it will be better.
Indeed. Important points here you raise up, and some interesting points that we need to consider what in practical terms they do mean. But having said that, I think we have come to an end of this workshop, and maybe to conclude with a couple of points that I took up from these different sections of our workshop, and starting from Anna's presentation, I think the one key message is relating to the top 5 list that Anna presented there. And as Henna said also, that the question is not about tricks or hocus pocus, but it is really about practical thinking and doing, and focusing on real things, and starting from proper problem analysis to working with clear problems and communicating and etc. and good to establishing a good consortium. So that is probably is the key message from Anna's presentation, and then what Henna presented about the sustainability of projects and the capitalization. So definitely we are not late, even though we are talking about this at this moment. So you still have time to do, and time to consider how to ensure the sustainability of your project outcomes and results. And then of course we are in a perfect moment in that sense, that we are approaching the future program. So it's in a way like a bridge to the new program, that when you are finalizing your project now, then to start considering that if these results are such that can be utilized in the future program, and in that sense it's a perfect timing. And then going to the polls. So I think the key message here was that you've been considering the sustainability, and that's of course a good message, and you see their sustainability with your proposals, and then maybe the next step, stepping to the capitalization. So you have also considered already how to go forward, and that's a good message. But still want to encourage you to take a look at the outcomes and outputs and results that you are producing now, and how that could be utilized. And finally, still what I mentioned already, I really liked your comments to utilize the best practices, share your best practices. As Henna said, there might be somebody else that you can utilize that as well, and for the common benefits. So having said that, so I think that there was some question there still before closing in chat. Do we take that still before I close this event? How is the negotiation about extension of the program period proceeding between EU and Russia, or have it been stopped? Good question. No, it hasn't been stopped. It is proceeding, and at the moment, the European Commission has provided letters to Finland and Russia about this issue, and it is under the procedures in both countries, or in fact, Finland has concluded it already, and in the Russian side, based on our information, is that by the end of the summer it should be concluded, and then after that we would be able to proceed also to 23 with extensions. But let's wait. You never know before we go to the end. So let's wait for the outcomes of these negotiations. But at the moment, it looks positive, and steps have been taken. It has taken a long time, but it is always so when it is not only about regulations, changing them, but also about changing the agreements. So with these words, I want to thank you for your participation to today's workshop, and thank you to Henna as well for your presentation. And I want to wish you a nice summer, and after the summer holidays, you come back to work with your project, and good luck with the work final steps with the implementation of your project, and try to utilize the information that you received today and make your project sustainable, and think about future also, and capitalize your results. Okay, thank you, and have a nice summer.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.